Hey, how you doing? Gonna get on to our studies now. Get a sip of tea. Okay, this is a game again in Montreal, Carlo, 1904, the Rice Gambit Tournament. The final position is so worthy to contribute to this opening, so favorable for many remarkable games produced from it. It's called the Rice RIC Gambit. I'm not sure what. I've never heard of it before. I mean, I've heard of it. I've never really seen it before, so it'll be a interesting thing to look at, especially from a Marshall, to see how Marshall deals with it or deals it out. uh, so. So this is the gambit that they're talking about. Huh. Interesting. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. Pawn there. They're saying that this is actually a mistake right here because bishop takes, and if the king moves, then knight to e4, and it's all good now. If rook takes, queen could actually take here. Queen takes check. King g1. Queen takes. Yep. And g3 is mate. So that's why c3 was played. c6. Wait a second. Nope, I'm wrong. That was not. This is. Black is the exchange ahead, but his advantage lags badly. And his king will be exposed to a lasting attack. And if he takes here, that's a blunder. So queen to rook over here. If you're wondering, like, why not grab this? The oldest trick in the book. And then you win the queen. And it's like, thank you very much. It's all, it's set, game, and match at that point. There we go. Now we got it. White has a threat to win some material with knight to queen 5. But bishop king 3 or bishop to e3 is actually best here. Okay. So knight to e4. They're saying that which is kind of still okay. He plays f5 to attack the knight. Knight d6. Pawn f4 is interesting. Queen to a1 is an exclam. This one's an interesting move. Bishop takes. That's different. go back to 11 real quick and just make sure I have this right. 5 rotates. I should check. Intakes. Retakes. Okay, we have G3. Castles. Takes. Right there. Hold on, I just feel I'm missing something. Just give me a second. Okay, so that's good. That's good. So good so far. Good so far. This is it right here. Right here. This is it. This was the problem right here. Had the wrong pawn. I knew there was a sitch. Castles. There we go. Now we're good. Now we're cooking. Okay. Oh, let's see here. A knight takes pawn. Double exclam. Okay, let me see here. So this one gets a double exclam. I know you're thinking, what in the world? What if he takes here, right? You get checkmate there. And then if he can't take here, so if he plays rook back here, You can actually, let me see here. You take here. Right there. Yeah, mate there. So Rookie 2 is actually, I think, the first one that they're talking about. HTSG, rotates, check, King G3, Rook F5, Rook G2, check, King takes G2, Knight E3, you're like, oh no, should take C3, King F. It comes back to hold. We come in here. He comes there. We come here. He comes up. We turn into a queen. He comes up. You can first bring down the check there. He comes up here. You bring the check here. Mate. Let me checkmate there. And it's all over. That's cut off. Excuse me, that's cut off. That's cut off. That's cut off. And that's cut off. So all slice and dice. So that's why I got a double exclam. No matter if he took the bishop, he lost. If he took the knight, if he took the queen, he lost. Didn't matter. Let's get on to our puzzles, and then we'll get us starting. I always try for some reason to there's a gambit called the Rice Gambit, so I'm not sure what that is. Let's get this a rolling and a moving and a grooving. Oops, I didn't erase this. Try. We already did this over here. Perfect. Had a schedule, so we're going to be able to get some of our endgame, pretty good amount of endgame on track, so that'll be fun. Okay, it's white to mate in 2. I'll give you... Come on. Okay, let's solve it. Interesting thing is, it's knight takes on f6 check. So if rook takes, then rook e8 check. So that's, I believe that's the only mate I'm trying to find. Hey, how you doing? Let's set up another one. We're right on rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. We're doing it. You just have to always, have a good time while you're learning. It helps with the learning process. And it's fun. Okay, let's see here. Just gotta make sure I'm doing this right. This is a kind of odd one. 4, 1, 2. And there's 6 on that one. Yep. There we go. This is kind of an interesting one. It's kind of like a mix of everything. Yeah, this one's a fun one. You should be able to solve this one. This one should be a walk in the park. It's a hop, skip, and a jump with one piece. It's a piece that moves twice. Yeah. Yep, you got it. You got it. Yeah. Oh. Uh-oh. What did I... Uh-oh, he's in check. So, I'll make sure I have that one right. Yeah. So it can't be a check there. I think it's better. No, it's not rook f5. The same thing happens. Rook f5. If you go rook f5, pawn takes. What's going on? Oh, rook takes. I guess that could be mate too. I was looking at here, but I think he can actually avoid mate by moving the bishop. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right on that one. I was trying somehow to get my king to take on d3 and make that work, but they can just move their bishop. If you take here, the bishop can just go to h, and then there's no more check at that point. Okay. So d4. This is the main line. Takes, and then knight takes. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Alrighty, let's get the other one done. Okay. Yeah, we were looking at. There's a. Have you ever heard of this one before? The Rice Gambit? RICE Gambit? Have you ever heard of that gambit before? It was popular it was popular in 1904 because Frank J. Marshall used it a lot. I don't know. All I know is that it was a gambit, and that it was called the Rice Gambit, and I'm like, I've never really heard of a Rice Gambit before. I've seen a lot of gambits, but there must have been, maybe they renamed it. Maybe because of it, maybe they called it, they didn't have a name for it at the time for somebody, and maybe it's called the Marshall Gambit now. It could actually be, they may have renamed it. Let me see here. I gotta make sure I have this right. I was just wondering if you have heard of it. I haven't heard of it before. I was like, so it's something new, all new to me on that. I think it could have gotten renamed because Marshall really liked it. He said that when he found the Rice Gambit, he like played it and had some really beautiful games. So I'm wondering if they didn't rename it in honor of Marshall. Actually, it's a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice a piece here. You have to sacrifice a piece. I'll give you the hint. It's all based on a sacrifice. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to sacrifice a piece to win. Don't be afraid. It's not about, and remember, it's not about material. Mate isn't about material because Paul Morphy showed us that with the opera game. The opera game showed us it's not about material because the Duke and the Earl had a boatload of pieces and it still wasn't. It still wasn't enough. What in the world? Because he made it anyways. That is just okay. Good. Reconnecting. Come on. Oh no. There we go. Okay. What do you think the line is? King H7? Oh. Okay, so bishop there, that takes, and then knight takes its mate. Okay. Good. Oops. Gotta stay up on our speed of our stuff, and we'll get it. We'll get it. One step at a time. You're funny. That's good. I mean, that's cool. Yep, we're all in it to win it. Let's see, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1. That's 5, and then 3. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward one. Boom. I think there's one more. Takes, rook takes, and then oh, the queen. Oh, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That hurts. That's not fun. Not fun one bit. And that's the reason this is the only one that works. Okay. Yikes. Gotta always be on your tippy toes. Let me see. 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, and 2. Okay. Yep, there it be. Gotta love that, mate. So 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, and then 5. Perfect. Excuse me. Let's see here. Yeah, you got it. All right. Oops. Are you sure that's the right knight move? Are you sure that's the right knight move? Are you sure that's the right knight move? And takes. What's the correct knight move here? If knight goes to, oh wow, you're right, it's pinned. Oh, I was looking at, there's a, no, okay, well, let me see. I think, nope, I think he could, that's not, oh, okay, because he's got that. Yep, good. Yeah, I've got to remember there's a pin here. See the pin. Love the pin. Okay, sorry, let me see. I gotta stay focused on task. Okay. So that's good. There's good. Okay, we need a bishop here. Come on. Here, rook there. Rook there. We need a king here. So we have to have a queen down here and a bishop right there. And then one king, and we should be Operation Go. So there. There's good so far. Everything's good and perfect. Okay. And that works. Boom. Don't forget, you got if the knight intercepts like that, you also have a bishop. So there's actually 3 mates. Yep. Great work. You have to keep in contact with the knight. The knight covers there, so. And here. Yep. two more, and then we get into the wonderful end game for me. You gotta love the end game. Almost. Okay. Hold on, I just gotta check one thing out. See how we're doing for time. Perfect. Uh-oh, 1 second. I think I made a boo-boo. I made a mistake there. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. I don't know how that got changed to a light one. There we go. This one's a straightforward one, D5. That's funny. I don't know how I got two queens there. That was a misclick. This one's right in your face, so you can't miss this one. You can't miss this one. Sure. What do you think the move is? Do you kind of have an idea? Well, if you're thinking of knight queen d5, you're right. Queen d5. If rotates d5, knight g. If knight takes, that's not mate because the bishop could take. So knight e4, is it mate? That's checkmate. So b5, okay, so knight there. That's mate. Okay. a4 doesn't work. If rook intercepts, then knight g. If bishop intercepts, then knight g. Yep, there's your three mates, and you found them. One more, and we're revving to go for our endgame. One more. Hey, Play OK, how's it doing? You made it here for our last one. Sweet. You get to do the last one with us. And then we get to go into endgame. Three, two, one, two. Oh, you do? Sweet. Okay, we'll go over it. Hey. Okay. We solved the puzzle. Okay, since we've finished off the last puzzle, we'll start into the game that play okay. And then we'll get into our end game then. Well, here to help. I think I'll be. I know you've done some good studying, so I'm not going to be surprised at how good you do, because I know that you put in the time and did a lot of work, and the game's going to be good. And we get to do one thing: we get to learn, and that's the fun part. That's the fun part, learning. Well, I'll pull up a board really quick. Okay, tell me when you're gonna be putting it in. Okay, got the board ready, and when you post it in, I'll put it. We'll get started on it. Ah, so you did. Okay, dokie. Let's get it going. Oh, okay. Well, either I figure this. Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know what? Remember what we talked about. It's not about the loss. If you can take something away from it, then it's never a loss. This is really different. Why is it coming up? Let me give it another shot here. Let's get rid of that too. Kind of a little choppy. Huh. This is different. Well, it's loading up. I'll put us on a LIC chess. Let me see here. We'll do a live chess game with watch somebody. There we go. There we go. Thank you for being patient with my machine. It's kind of being rebellious. I appreciate you being patient. You know how computers are sometimes. Just bear with me for just a second. I'm gonna go see what's going on with my internet and stuff. So I'll be right back. There we go. Okay. Got the internet working again. Okay, good. That's a pain when the internet doesn't work. Okay. So, you're the playing as the black side of the. Okay. So are you black here then? Oh, okay. The Sicilian. All right. A6. So the French. So you played a French Sicilian. You played a French variation of the Sicilian defense, because it's kind of a mix of a French and a Sicilian. Okay, because it's a amalgam of that. Then you transposed into the kind of the Karen variation of the or Cara variation of the Sicilian, huh? Because you could have or con, or I may say that, sorry, con variation. I think I said it wrong. Um, yeah. Yeah. And after takes, you could kind of go into a French type of setup if you wanted to, with taking and then playing with an isolated pawn, kind of the Sicilian French variation open, which is actually based on this isolated pawn. You have more space, which is kind of rare in the French to actually have that. And if you try something like this, you just develop your knight. Actually, you don't have to develop your knight. You can potentially play knight here, and then if he takes, and now you do have two, as they say, hanging pawns. That's what they call them, because there's nothing that's gonna support them, so they call them hanging pawns. That's just a term. And if there's a pawn here, it wouldn't be. It's like, because usually a piece, yeah. Yeah. And so that's an idea that you can always play on. Okay, come on, there we go. Queen to C7. Knight C6. Knight takes C6. B takes C6. Okay. C3. Oh, you're going Scandinavian? You're gonna play the Scandinavian? Oh, that's gonna be that is an interesting one. It's when you bring your queen out early. I was wondering, why didn't you play D5 here? D5 would have been an interesting type of setup, and if takes, then you take, then take, and take, and now you have an open type of setup here, and if he comes knight here, you can develop your knight. If there's a pin there, you can develop your bishop, and if rook comes out to pin, you can bring the other, actually you don't want to bring the other rook in yet. Probably you'd want to push, And if the knight comes there, the bishop comes, and knight takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, and you kind of do have a messed up pawn structure, but you do have a pretty good chances of hiding and bringing the other rooks in. Yeah. Castles. I'm a little concerned for black at this point. I don't know really if you have a choice in that scenario. I think you may have a sitch here. I'm thinking that potentially e5 is a good move, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking e5 is, even here is a good idea, and then after takes. He does have an open file under your king, but really nothing to, as they say, boast about for anything good. And I would say that about equal at this point. Yeah, maybe actually rook d8 could have been playable here. Then after pawn push, you could take here, and you could actually take the pawn at that point. So I'm actually liking rook d8, preparing to blast open. What if he plays f5? You're talking about after e5 if he plays f5. Well, then you can counter with rook d8, and if he comes over with his rook, then you can blast open the center with kaboom like that. And then if he takes there, you take, and he can't take because then this piece hangs, the knight hangs. So he has to actually stand by, and now you have these two mega monsters that are just gonna go roar, roar, and just start causing chaos in the center of the board. Oops. When the pawns approach there, you have that. They're just like powerhouses, especially when it's backed up by a rook. Oh yeah, I'd play this position for sure. That's a sweet position. I think what happened was, this happens to a lot of chess players. Jeremy Silva talks about this. Yeah, this happens to a lot of chess players. It's the they call it the unknown familiar. You kind of get into that. Let's say you're on a boat and you go out in the middle of nowhere, and you kind of have that you don't know where you're going feeling. It's kind of like, where's land? Where like you're looking up at the stars, thinking, if I do that you're doing all the trying to figure out where you are and everything. Same thing in chess. If you don't have a fulcrum point of where you're going, what will happen is the waves will pull you right and left, and if you do, then get a fulcrum point, but it's actually an incorrect plan. It could hurt you. And so what goes through your mind is, I don't know where I'm going. Uh, what am I gonna do? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I do this? And then it's like, he's gonna attack, and then fear creeps in. Trust me, he talks about that in The Amateur's Mind. Fear creeps in, and what happens? Then we start going to reactive chess. Something like this. The bishop b7 is a good move. It's not a bad move. I don't really see anything wrong with this one. So then he plays rook a d8, and then this move here, I don't know if you had to actually, like what you're saying, play this. And yeah, it's happened, he said, to many players. Surprisingly, he's had a 2100 level person that he had tutored in his Reassess Your Chess, and that one student got into a area that they weren't familiar with, and his student kind of started reacting. And then all of a sudden, though, it was interesting. He said he saw a change when that 2100 level, 2100 FIDE, or I think it's USCF. I'm not exactly sure. He never said which one. Kind of found footing, ground, like solid ground. Then the 2100s stopped panicking and started playing good again. Not good, but they had a plan, and he noticed that's what he was talking to us about at that point. He noticed that 2100, once it had footing, it could navigate, and at that point, the 2100 level student actually won against his other opponent. I think he showed him a game, if I'm not mistaken. He showed him a game against. He played against another 2100. And he talked to him, and then he has them discuss it in his book of Reassess Your Chess, not Reassess Chess, Amateur's Mind. And then you get to kind of look into the mind of a player from around 1000 all the way up to like 2300. And throughout the book, you start getting these trends. Yeah. Tactics tend to help with that. Yeah. Yeah, at a certain level, I agree with you, Chess 360, that it does. Tactics are critical. That's what a lot, like Dan Heisman talks about that in some of his books. That I believe Dan Heisman said that it was all the way up to like 1800 to 2000 is a game is decided by some sort of a tactic. And so, you just gotta be on key about that. I know I'm trying to phrase it right, and it's kind of hard to, do that, because it's interesting how when you lose footing, you kind of get that fear moment for a second, and then it feels like your stomach goes to your feet, and same thing on the chessboard. You can sense when a player loses their footing or their stability on the board. They start moving different. I don't want to say bad, because it's not bad. They just start moving different. And Jeremy Silman calls it reactive chess, and I'll leave it with that. E5. So, okay. Yeah. Because my teacher, Grandmaster teacher, told me that it's better to have a plan that doesn't hurt you rather than having no plan at all. So he told me that, and so I was like, And then I tried it. And my plan, when I didn't really have a plan, was to make this one piece better. My opponent blundered, and I was able to implement a tactic, and I was able to win. see. Yeah, you're doing great here. So just keep that in mind. You know what? We're all here to help build up the chess community. So if you can take away something from every game that you play, win, lose, or win, loss, or draw, you have accomplished a great feat. And so never think of a loss as a loss if you can take something away from it. F5, that's also what my Grandmaster teacher taught me too. And so it kind of helped with the fear of the potential of a loss. Josh Waitzkins also talked about that. Waitzkins, he said that when he lost in the junior championship one time, he took a year off. I think I already I discussed this, that he studied pawn and games with Bruce Pontifini, and when he came back into it like a year later, he said he had a different compassion for chess. He said that he knew that he could be beaten, and he said that that brought the reality that he was beatable into it. And then he said he had a good stability after that, because for a time he was like the unbeatable kid. He said on there, no kid could defeat him. And so kind of he learned, as in the Aikido principle, balance. Rook takes d7. Okay, so good so far. Okay, so we got a fork happening. Okay, let's go back here. Okie dokie. Let's see what happened. Okay, so he set up for a. There it is. This is the tactic right here. Pow. Right here. So then when he took there. So oh, double attack. Okay, so they checked there. Okay, then the king went, so he went f5. Let me see, is there anything better? I think if we played up here, he could take here. Then after that, if we played here, then knight could take there. So we can't do that. That's actually really good. I like that. That's even better. Even better. Okay. Queen a4. Pawn takes. Okay. Okay, that your b7 move was forced. I believe that you should have played this here. I think taking was a mistake. I think taking was a mistake here. When you took here, I believe that was the mistake. Because now that when the rook moves to a7, you have the ability now to potentially cement the bishop. If he plays here, you just grab that. So, and if he sets up for that, so maybe potentially bishop takes, knight takes, knight takes. Boy, this is a tough one. Yeah, because if he takes there, he sets up for a double attack there. Nice. That's a double attack tactic. But then he can throw in the in between rook b6 type of move. Because he could take, but if he takes, you lose. See, you'd probably think, why not just take? Well, he loses a piece, so he has to actually throw the intermezzo in between move there. And then you take, and then if he takes, and it's potentially drawable here. You have a chance to draw. You're down a pawn, but that doesn't. Remember, we studied in endgames. If you know your endgame's good enough, it doesn't matter about the pawn. I think I would have kicked the bishop out again. I would have tried to kick the bishop out one more time. I would have tried to get it to a spot, even if it moves back there. I would have then tried to somehow get my. You could even play this here if you wanted to. And if he plays there, so well, you got to be careful. I kind of see that. Yeah. Boy, it's a tough one. Okay. Yeah, because this is, if he checks here, I don't know. I think you could have still kept pushing on. I think though that he wins a piece after rook e1 though, or rook e8. I mean. Let's see. Check. Check. Bishop takes. King takes. And then this knight keeps the bishop out of the fray, and so yeah. Good game though. Really good game though. You know what? Do you have any questions on the game? All right. Let's get into our endgame. You're funny. I'll pull up. Hopefully, I can pull up a board without it stalling on me. Good. Okay. But great job. You know what? Keep studying. take your game, learn from it, find out where you believe you might have had some weak points, and then go over it and see what potentially the best move might be. You know, that's what I do with my games if I lose any. And it does really help. Perfect. You know what? If you've figured that out, that is excellent. Implement that. You know what? You can put it into like some of the databases or something, and then you can find out what type of games go to that. Yeah. Let's see. Want to make sure I got that right. Yeah. Yep. Good to go here. Okay. Yep. Well, fear does that. So don't, whatever you do, remember, you're a chess cruncher, and a chess cruncher is fearless. It's hard to do that when you're playing chess and you get into an area where you're not sure of, but just work on sometimes maybe close your eyes for a second, breathe, and ask the Lord to help you with calming the mind down. That's what I do, calming your mind down. And then if you have time to get up at over the board play, do that. But if you don't, just close your eyes for maybe 10 to 15 seconds and just breathe for a second, and it will help you re-clarify. Your eyes will open and you'll see the board differently. And whatever you do, don't panic. Panic is the worst thing to do in a position. Black is in serious trouble here. The reason for this is there's six things. White's king is black's king is more active. So white's in trouble because, yeah, perfect. You know what? You're doing great. Keep up the good work. But the reason black's that looks like black's winning here is that he has a more active king than our counterpart. The white knight will dominate the black bishop. So that's a trump for white. Black has potential pawn weaknesses on. Black is in serious trouble. Oh, white. Okay, I read that wrong. Sorry. Black's in serious trouble. White's king's more active. That's what I mean, because it's able to go after the c7 pawn. So this is the benefits for white. That's what I should say. So more active king for white than black's king. The white knight will eventually, if we trade off like this knight for that knight, If we trade these two knights off, this knight will dominate that bishop. And then the black has potential pawn weaknesses on c7, pawn weaknesses on f6, and pawn weakness on h5. There will, if he moves his pawn, if he moves his h5 pawn at all, then g4 becomes weak. And white then, if he wants to, could provoke a weakness with f3 and cause the weakening of the loosening of the pawns as well, and eventually reconnect his and start loosening up white's armor a little bit, and then going for an attack. So that all will be left would be g3. G3 would be left. Okay, be blessed. I'll see you. Okay, bye-bye. In general, two knights don't work well together. However, in this case, black's knight is dominated, and if it moves, it will be exchanged, and exchange will take place that will leave white with a crushing knight versus a rather sad bishop. Bye bye. Be blessed. Correctly handling a knight takes more skill than correctly handling a bishop. As a result, lower rated players fear the knight in a way. Masters don't fear the knight. It is a test that separates the new and upcoming, basically, chess players from the ones who are still afraid of knight maneuvers. Like this, I've talked to a lot of players, some players that just basically a lot of players, I'll just say that, and they just don't, this just makes them nervous, this type of how the knight moves is kind of nerve-wracking to them. So, and that's what he's talking about. So the king went to c2 to attack the bishop. This was analyzed also that he played bishop to e1, bishop e1. He says that the player analyzed bishop g5, and shows that it also loses to king to b3. Bishop takes knight, pawn takes, knight e7, knight takes knight, king takes, king c4, f5, f5, f3, f4, king b5, king d7, c4, king d8, king c6, king c8, and c5. Pawn takes c5, king takes c5, and then king d7, king c4, king e7, king b4, king d6, king b5. What am I doing wrong here? Hold on. Oops, that's my problem. King b4, king d6, king b5. Triangulating. G3, king b4, king e7, king c4, king d6, king b5, king d7, c5 now, and king c8, and then d6. Boom. This is the kaboom, the final nail in the coffin. After, oops, not that. And after takes, this whole chain will fall. Well, it's getting ready so that if the knight comes here or here, actually if the knight comes here, if the knight ever did come to this here, white would more likely trade. After the king takes, then the knight comes in f5 check. That could potentially come to pass, and when the king goes, then boom, you take that. So queen, bishop e1. Well, John Watson talked to him about this game. John Watson says that f5 is a bad move, and that he says perhaps it's true that John Watson feels that f5 is a bad move here, f5. Since it later deprives the e-pawn of some much-needed protection. Instead, he said that king to d7 is actually a good move, and then king b5, king e7, king c6, g3, exclam is what this is an exclam move. That's what John Watson said. f3, and he was talking that if you took on here, f5 is an exclam again. So if you're thinking about taking, and it's an equal position, so this allows the black king to infiltrate in here and start gobbling these up. So that's why he played f3, was to lock this all down if he could. King d8, c4, king c8, c5 takes, king takes, and then king d7. His logic is shown by the position that could result after king b5, d6, b4, c6, takes, king takes, c4, king d6, king b5, king d7, king c5, king c7, king d5, and then king d7, and it's an equal position, which would potentially turn out to be a draw, because he can't pass the opposition anymore to white. He could potentially try throwing this in here, and then if takes, he could try this move. And if takes, he pushes, and there's no way now to stop this. So he can't really change anything now. This is nice king and pawn endgame setup. That's what Jeremy Silman is saying now. f3 was actually played at this point, f3. White intends to play c4 then march his king all the way to c6 right here. Black would like to be greedy to greet the white king move by his monarch going to d7, stop him, or potentially get a king here, something like that. So, and then and maybe exchange off both pairs of the knights and exchange the bishop and knight off. Knight e7, knight takes, king takes. Actually, king takes, f takes, g, h takes g, and then knight to f5 check. One second. Well, f3 is a vital kind of thing. It keeps everything together. If he was to take, I mean, if he were to take, you can actually take there and then connect your pawns, and this knight holds really well. So that's kind of why that happened. And the king went to f7, and now he went to c4, king g6. There's no way to infiltrate in, so this king is actually totally boxed out. The only way to come around would be to come like this, and really that's not going to happen. King b3, king g5, it's actually groundbreaking. It's, as I like to say, a computer eye would pick that up. And what they're saying about computer eye is that the computer wouldn't be afraid, not afraid, the computer wouldn't be, he wouldn't worry about the knight being on h4 if the knight played a purpose. And the knight did play a purpose for reloading on to f5. So it's kind of like we have to sometimes wait for our opponent to do what we want, because we want to force them to do what we want, and sometimes it takes a little bit, and so we got to be patient and leave a knight maybe out in the pasture for a while. He's running around getting his and practicing sword training, so his time will come, and we just have to wait till it's his time. And the knight was well fed, well equipped, and ready for the battle, and he was able to replace his brother's position and basically do as much damage and maybe even more than his brother. Okay, black is desperately seeking to the king's side, trying to defend f7 if he could. He's really trying to hold on to f7. King a4. He played bishop takes g3, and then of course knight takes g3. But this potentially oh, did I move wrong? No. It says king g7. That's different. Let me see here. Okay, at this point, Oh, on move 7, gotcha. Ah, okay. If black had played f7, then king here, king e8, b5, king d7, knight h6, he takes, knight takes g, bishop h, knight h6, bishop g5, knight f5, bishop d2, king e6, a6, king c, king a7, bishop f4, king a8, bishop d2, g4, bishop f4, knight to e2, e7 check, king d, knight c6, king c8, knight a7 check, king d, and then king b, and winning according to Smyslov. He's saying that bishop e3, knight c6, bishop c5, knight b8 check, king d8, king c, bishop d4, knight a6, bishop b6, and then knight to b8, with the infiltration idea of these 2 points here and then here. And if bishop d7, there's actually 3 lines. Bishop e3, and then king e7. So we'll go bishop d, knight d7, and it's game, set, and match. There's nothing we could do. If he moves his king to e7 to defend, we pick up a pawn. There's no way for him to defend both points. Bishop e, knight d7, bishop g5, knight f8, and then we're coming in. And then knight e6 proves decisive. King e7, knight d7, bishop a5, c5, bishop b4, king takes, d takes, and then knight b, exclam. Because if he pushes here, which would be a mistake, you actually win material. So a check, king c6, c4, king c5, c3, c6 check, king d7, knight takes, a2, and here, and white must resign, black must resign at this point. If he pushes here, double question mark, it's a resign. Double question mark. Move 28. If he takes, now he takes b6, knight b7, king f7, and then d6. And we undermine the pawn. He has to move his, basically, if he doesn't take, we create a passed pawn. If he takes, he loses the bishop. So it's like lose-lose. So we did that. And at this point, this is what he says, the only chance, this is the only chance, otherwise white just marches his king to c6 and basically like Pac-Man gobbles everything up. So rotates g, king f4, h5 check, king takes e, knight takes f, king f5, black doesn't have anything better. If he tries going f4, and I know what you're thinking, what if he plays king d4? All the king has to do at that point is just come over, or probably better would be probably just king coming up, and now you stop that and everything. So f4 does nothing better as either, because king b5, e4, knight takes e4, king takes e4, king c6, g3, king takes, king e3, king takes, king f2, king e5, king takes, d6, oops, not that, it's wrong spot, my bad, delete, king f3, d, there, queen, queen, and then king to d3, when white is forced to actually go king f5, king and then at the, see how he trades when the king goes there, now you trade and up the board it goes. And if king f2, king d5, king f2 is if king f2, then queen d4, or if king g2, then queen g6, and it forces the exchange. King f5, knight e8, exclam, white's superior knight goes into opposite direction, seeking to seek a quick launch before dealing with the e pawn. So he wants to see if he can't gobble some material before he has to deal with the e pawn itself. So come here, 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 and then maybe just there and trade off. Or if here, trade off there. E4, pawn E4, knight takes, E3, knight B5, and what could happen is if king F4, he doesn't like the look of E2 because E2 is actually pretty much losing because of check, and he'll just gobble the pawn up. So king F4 to hold on knight C3, and now we're getting ready to trade off for E2, the E2 pawn, king G3 and C5, and he resigned here, and we'll stop here. And black resigned, because if we wanted to take it, we'll just take it maybe one or two moves, and I'll just put right there, that's the only move. Then if he took here, you'd have to be careful with these passers, but I'm sure you can gobble them up. It's I really wouldn't want to. I think it's still waiting for yeah, G5. You'd have to play G5, and then if he came up here, Queen F4, and one of them's gonna fall. If he comes this way, that one falls. So let's see, where is our last thing? He resigned there, so we'll just ditch that. There we go. Okay. Do you have any questions before I log off? And then we'll pick up. There's Bronstein versus Suman. The U.S. Championship 1938. Tomorrow we'll pick that one up. Okay. Want to thank you for all logging on. A little bit longer night, but you know what? Hey, 2 thumbs up. You can't have a bad night when you're doing chess. Remember, put on your Grandmaster glasses when you sit down and do over the board. Remember that what you think about is important when you're playing over the board too. If you let in fear, fear will dictate a lot of your moves. It'll push a lot of your thought patterns rather than you need to bring confidence in. And the way to do that is with the Lord, always. He'll comfort you and help you. And what we have to remember is that we know a lot of information, but we need to be able to apply it. And applying takes time and effort and work. And I know because you're chess crunchers and you stayed on with me, you're not afraid of work. So 2 thumbs up again. And we have to be willing to do it, and we will do it. And like Bruce Lee said, he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 individual kicks, feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. And that's what we're doing with our end game. We're practicing and making sure our end game is solid as a rock. And then we also remembered like what we learned from Play OK. Treasure your victories and learn from your losses. And remember that mistakes do not define you. It's how you handle the mistake that defines you. And I gotta say, I'm glad that he brought the game, and I wanted to when this goes out and when he watches it on YouTube, I want to say thank you for the game, and thank you for all participating. That it really helps build up Chess Cruncher with the participation. Let me see here, and I think we did that. Let me see. Oh yeah, there are no limits to the human potential. We have to not limit ourselves. Like plateaus do happen. Don't be afraid if you stay there for a while, but don't be satisfied there. Keep pushing onward, and you'll improve. Um, but you have to remember to always knuckle down and get back up. Don't when you fall down, because it's not if you're going to fall down. It's just when you're going to fall down, and you have to. It tests the soldier of a chess player. The soul of a chess player is to never give up and always get back up. And I like to end on. I want to end on this one thing. Yasser Seirawan saying, "Every long journey begins with one small step." So we're taking our first small. I thank you for taking your first small step with the Chess Cruncher team. And if you like what you're seeing, you're still on, please click follow and join the Chess Cruncher team along on our journey to improvement in chess. And remember, what is a chess cruncher? You're probably wondering. A chess cruncher hangs up their coat, they hang up their hat, they sit down and study when most won't. A chess cruncher does. And that makes all the difference. And as Wesley So says for the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless. And I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll go over more martial games, some puzzles, and we'll get into our end game and do another end game puzzle to learn from. And you know what? Like Hannibal Smith said, I'll leave you on this. He says, I love it when a plan comes together, but he also says you have to predict what your opponent's going to do and have a plan based around it. 2 thumbs up. Great job, Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.